Hey everyone, it's GamerCat09, and I hope everyone had the opportunity to watch my story analysis for 400 Days. I was having such a hard time with that video, but I put it up to the best I could. I was just so sick of fighting. I was just like, you know what? I put a lot of time into this. I'm going to put it up, and everyone's going to watch it, and whether they like it or not, tough shit. So, I've been in a huge Walking Dead mood lately, and I've been kind of nerding out, I guess you could say the term is. And by the way, if you hear like wind or whatever, like a really weird sound, I have the fan on because it's fucking hot in here. But yeah, it's gonna hit my microphone. But yeah, I've been looking up some stuff and then watching people's videos and seeing what everyone's predictions for season 2 is. And since the release of season 2 is kind of up in the air right now, we know it's going to come out sometime the end of this year, but I don't know when. It might be fall, it might be winter, who knows. But while we're waiting for that to come out, I figured I would talk a little bit about what I think about what might happen in season 2 based on everything that happened in season 1 in 400 days. Some of the things that I might talk about might be related to my particular gameplay. So, if you're confused and you haven't watched my gameplay of The Walking Dead or 400 Days, I recommend you go watch them before watching this video, or else I'm going to spoil a whole lot of shit for you. And especially if you haven't played the games for yourselves, don't watch this video, or it will ruin everything. That's pretty much it. So, I wanted to talk about a little, about the characters who lived, who died, who became a zombie, what happened, and what I think might happen in season 2. So, first I'm going to go over the list of characters, and I am on the Walking Dead Wikia. So, I am going through the list from beginning to end, starting with Everett's family and going down. I'll link it in the video so that you guys can follow along if you'd like to, because I'm really not going to make any elaborate video out of this. It's just going to be me talking for however long. So, here we go. So Everett's family, we definitely know that Lee is dead in some way or form or another. Depending on what you chose, you either shot him or let him go and die on his own. I chose to shoot him, so he's most definitely dead. He's not a zombie anymore. And we definitely know that Lee's brother is also dead because Lee had to kill him. So it's really sad. For Clementine's family, we know that Clementine is definitely alive. If you played all through episode 1 through 5, you will notice at the end of episode 5 she is alive. However, her parents, she found out in episode 5, Ed and Diana, are dead. They are zombies. It's unfortunate. In Clementine's neighborhood, back when Lee rescued Clementine from her zombie babysitter, remember Sean and Chet? Chet kind of just fell off the map. He really wasn't an important character, so I'm really not going to bother about it. And then Sean is dead. In my scenario, he got eaten alive by zombies. So, I mean, I don't remember what the other death is for him, but in mine he got eaten alive by zombies when Duck was playing on the tractor. And Herschel is still alive, but I don't think we're going to see any more of him because he hates everybody because his son's dead. So I don't think he's ever going to appear again. Now here's the biggest controversy on what's going to happen in season 2 when it comes to Kenny's family. We know that Katja killed herself, and we know that Duck is dead. You either let Kenny shoot him, or you shot him, someone shot him, he's dead. Kenny, now, this is the controversial part of what I'm going to talk about. A lot of people think Kenny's alive, a lot of people think Kenny's dead. I'm personally leaning towards the fact he might be alive. I'm saying this because, one, he was in an alleyway with Ben, who was dying, and he had one bullet in his gun, and there were a lot of zombies. So I can see why everyone's like, yeah, he's dead, what are you talking about? However, that last bullet, we do know, at least I do hope, that went to Ben. Because Ben was in pretty bad shape. And if he hadn't been put out of his misery, I don't personally see him lasting very long. But assuming that Kenny killed Ben to save him, I'm thinking Kenny, because, Kenny's a pretty strong guy. He's pretty much a redneck. He's not going to back down. Yes, he went through a lot of hell in his life, but I don't think he's just going to lay down and die. Oh, hell no. I think he got out of there. And I think he fought his way through. Now, what condition he's in after fighting through that, I don't know. Maybe he did die. Maybe he, fought to the death and lost. Or maybe he won and got out of there somehow. I really don't know. Nobody knows. But that's what makes it interesting, is that Kenny's status, as of right this very moment, is undecided. No one knows what happened to Kenny. You can only guess what happened. You can only assume what happened. But the fact of the matter being, I didn't see Kenny's dead body anywhere in the game of episode 5, so I'm not going to say Kenny's dead. I'm going to say he's alive. And if he's alive, we might see him again in season 2. Now, let's go to the pharmacy survivors, which we met back when we were choosing between Carly and Douglas to survive. Glenn was the only character that left, that decided he was going to go and find his own family or friends or whatever, and he took off. Which, kind of funny. Glenn does kind of look like Vince, so I wonder if they used the same character. But Glenn, I'm wondering if will appear in season 2. I'm not sure. I know he had a role in season 1. It wasn't a big role, but I'm wondering if he might appear again. And I'll touch that later. We know that Carly and Douglas are dead. Absolutely dead. I don't know why I call Doug Douglas. I think I'm stuck on Silent Hill 3, but whatever. Carly and Doug are dead. And then with Lily's family, we definitely know Larry's dead, because regardless of what you chose, Larry will die, because everyone freaked out thinking he was going to be a zombie. Lily, however, is undecided. One of two things happens to Lily in season 1, depending on what you choose. She is either left on the side of the road to defend herself, or she ends up getting free of her restraint and stealing the RV, which, regardless, Lily is still alive. Somewhere, somehow. I don't know if she's going to come back in season 2. I'm going to assume she might come back in season 2 and she might play the bitch part again. And I'll touch that later. I'm so anxious to just start rambling on, but let me get through the list of characters first. We know Irene was the girl at the motel, and she killed herself, so she's definitely dead. And Mark his legs were eaten alive, and I assumed he became a zombie. Well, actually, he did become a zombie, because he attacked Brenda. So yeah, Mark's dead. All of the Stone Mountain School survivors, Ben, Travis, and David, are all dead. And the St. John family, they're all pretty much dead. I'm going to assume they're dead because they weren't left in a good predicament. I don't see them ever coming back. They're kind of done, in my opinion, with the whole episode. And we know that that crazy woman who was stalking Clementine, Jolene, yeah, she's most definitely dead. The railroad survivors, when we got on the train, Charles, sadly, we know he's dead. Krista and Omid are alive. I don't know the status of how they are, but keep in mind, Krista is still pregnant, so I have a feeling her pregnancy is going to play an important role in season 2, and we might see a baby at some point in time during season 2. So that's going to be really interesting to see how being pregnant in a zombie apocalypse would be. I'm assuming we're going to have to protect her or whatever, or maybe something will happen to the baby. I don't know. So, I mean, the one thing, and this is not from experience, but this is because I have a lot of friends and family who were pregnant. One of the things that the doctors always tell them is don't stress when you're pregnant, because the more stress you have, the worse it is for your baby. And I can only assume that when you're in the middle of a zombie apocalypse and you're trying to fight for your life and your survival, that's got to be a lot of stress, especially on a pregnant woman. So I'm curious to see how that will play out. The stranger that we met at the end of episode 5 who confronted Lee, he's kind of like, I think he's dead either way. I think you either choose to shoot him or you just kind of let him go, but either way he's dead. So, I mean, I choked him to death, I think. Yeah, I choked him to death. So I think either way he dies. So I don't think we're ever going to see him again. The Crawford survivors, we have no idea what happened to Molly, so I'm wondering if Molly will return in season 2, because she was pretty much, she was kind of like a tomboy, kind of, like, I can take care of myself kind of thing, but she was pretty secretive about her sister Anna. So, and Anna is pregnant too. So that's 2 pregnant people that we have that are kind of like, we don't know what's going to happen with them. Molly agreed to stay behind in, I think it was episode 4 or 5. She stayed behind. She didn't want to get involved in anything. So, I'm wondering if she might come back, and I wonder what happened to Anna. I mean, this is just how I imagined it in season 1 when I was playing it. I just had some creepy thought that maybe she was using the battery. Remember when Molly ran off with the battery? Maybe she was using the battery for something for her sister to keep her alive. Maybe something happened to Anna and maybe, like, I don't know. That's kind of how I thought. Or maybe they used the battery to kind of power, like, an ultrasound machine or something to see how the baby was doing. I don't know. But that's just how I imagined it in my head when I was playing the game. Molly used that battery for something. When she ran off with that battery and then brought it back and gave it to Lee, she used that battery for something. She just didn't have the battery and leave. I'm pretty sure she used it for something. So, I'm wondering if those 2 will appear again. I'm not 100% sure. The cancer support group that we saw in episode 4 and 400 Days in Shell's scenario, we know that Clive and Joyce are still alive, but we don't know what happened to them. Boyd, depending on what you chose, he died. In my scenario, he didn't. So, he's been left behind with Roman. So, I don't know what happened with them. And I wonder if they're even going to bother to make another appearance or if that was it. So, I'm really not sure. Vernon is another guy who knows what the hell happened. Maybe he took the boat, went out to the middle of the frickin' ocean and drowned. I don't know. But Vernon is kind of up in the air too. I don't know if he'd make a return or what. But he kind of made a dick move stealing that boat and running off with it. So that kind of pisses me off. If I saw Vernon in season 2, I'd probably want to give him a piece of my mind for abandoning all of us and leaving us to die. Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to go into the 400 Days characters. So, we all know that Vince lives. I chose to run off with Danny, and Danny dies. So, everyone in Vince's scenario, except for Vince, is dead. And then, in Russell's scenario, Russell and Nate are still alive. I don't know what happened to Nate. But that would be kind of creepy if Russell was to run into Nate again, somehow. Even though Russell kind of told Nate to screw off, but the fact that Russell and Wyatt both know who Nate is, and Wyatt's hoping that his buddy Eddie is okay, that Nate didn't kill him, that's going to be a really weird scenario. So, I'm hoping we see that play out somehow in season 2 because I want to know what happens with them because I love Wyatt and Eddie. Those two are so awesome. They're kind of like Cheech and Chong almost. Like, they're just kind of like, dude, like, do we got any weed in the fucking glove compartment? I don't know. I kind of saw them as a comic relief in 400 Days, and I would love to see those two reunite. So we'll have to wait and see. Bonnie is alive. Leland, I think Leland told Bonnie to leave, but I don't know what happened to Leland. So I wonder if Leland would come back, and if he did, would he rekindle a kind of love thing with Bonnie, or is he just that depressed that Dee's dead? I'm not really sure, but we know Dee is dead regardless. Dee is dead. And the pit stop survivors, we know Shell and Becca are alive. I could not get Shell or Vince to come with me, so those two, I don't know if they're going to still play a part in season 2 for me or not, but I know that they're not coming with me. So I'm going to say maybe they won't play a part because they stayed behind. Who knows? We know that Roman is still alive, so I don't know how that will play out with Roman. I let Shell shoot Stephanie, so Stephanie is dead. And I also shot the Spanish-speaking guy that was the intruder, shot him as well. So those two are dead, unfortunately. And we all know that the old couple that was in the diner, Nate did in fact kill. They're both dead. And then we have Tavia, who showed up at the end of 400 Days and said, hey, we got a survivors camp. Who wants to come along and live happily ever after? So I'm thinking, and this is going to lead on to my season 2 predictions. I'm thinking season 2 is going to pick up in the survivors camp with Tavia. That is what I strongly believe. That way all the characters reunite and we, are introduced to different characters, different scenarios. Maybe Krista and Omid are there. And I was also thinking, because if you look at the scenario of 400 Days, the very end scenario of 400 Days, and the very, very end of episode 5, you'll notice that they're both in a field. So I'm wondering if, because, obviously, when Clem shot Lee, it was at night, and so maybe she spent the rest of the night walking into the field trying to get away from the zombies, and maybe it's early morning or something, and then all of a sudden she sees those two shadows walking up on top of the hill far off in the distance. Everyone says that they're probably Krista and Omid. They might be, but you can't really assume it is. So maybe it is. I was thinking that, I mean, call me crazy, because I don't know how this works, but maybe somehow she either runs into the people who stayed behind when Tavia asked everyone to come along with her. So maybe in my scenario, those two figures could be Vince and Shell, or Shell and Becca, or, somebody. Maybe she runs into them. Maybe, she runs into Tavia looking for survivors. Maybe she runs into Kristen Omid. I don't know. But I'm assuming, because it's in a giant open field, that maybe she runs into somebody, but maybe it's not who we think it is. That's just the one thing I can think of. Maybe it's Kenny. I mean, who freaking knows? It could be anybody. And the other thing that I was wondering about, and this is just a shot in the dark, but what if Tavia is somehow related to Clementine? Wouldn't that be crazy? Maybe she's an aunt or something, and Clem will recognize her? I don't know. I mean, maybe that it's completely unrelated, but that's just the one thing I thought of, because I know in the beginning of episode 1, when Lee enters the house and you listen to the voice messages on the answering machine, You will hear Clementine's mother mention, to the babysitter, please take Clementine and go to, I think it's like Marietta or whatever, which I think someone mentioned is a city somewhere in Georgia. So where they left off, I think they left off in Atlanta. And I'm pretty sure, because someone made this video and actually showed the mappings of Georgia, but I think where they wanted the babysitter to take her was close to Atlanta or close to Savannah. I think they went from Atlanta to Savannah, so it's close to Savannah. And maybe, I don't know, maybe Tavia was that relative that was in that city that the parents wanted, whoever. That's just a guess for me. Maybe they are related, maybe they're completely unrelated. But I have a feeling that somehow everyone is going to meet up at this survivor camp. And I don't know if it's going to happen in the beginning of episode 2, the middle, or the end of episode 2. Everything's kind of up in the air. But that might be interesting, to see if anything had happened. And like I mentioned, Krista is pregnant, so I'm going to assume that if Krista and Omid make it to the survivors camp, maybe the survivors camp will help Krista during her pregnancy or something, or maybe it'll be something that they reach towards the end of the game, or who knows. I do know that, and I think this is just, I'm not sure if this is a determinant or not, if you choose Lee to ask or not, but in my scenario, I remember that Lee asked Krista and Omid to take care of Clementine. So I'm hoping in some way they reunite so that they can keep Lee's promise. So far what we have in season 1, as far as like main concerned characters are involved, the survivors happen to be Clem, Kenny as far as we know, Glenn, Lily, Krista, Omid, and Molly and her sister. So that's about 8 people that are alive, that are like important characters from season 1. So I'm wondering if we're going to see any of them again. I mean, we know we're going to see Clem, but I'm wondering if we're going to see at least the other 4 or 5 characters. And then 400 days in my scenario, Russell and Wyatt went, and Bonnie. So that's 3, and then the ones who stayed behind were Shell and Becca and Vince. I still think that even though the characters stayed, whoever stayed at the end of episode 4, just because you have the option for getting them all to go or getting some of them to go and some to stay, I think they're all going to play an important part in season 2. I'm not sure how long season 2 is going to be. Just with everything going on, either the episodes are going to have to be longer or there's going to be more episodes. That's my opinion. Because there's way too much stuff that's open. There's way too much stuff that's going on. And now that they added 400 days, now all that's happening. So it's going to be kind of crazy. But I really, and this is something that I personally want, I want Clementine to be a fighter in season 2. I want her to use all of her skills that Lee taught her before he died, and I want her to utilize them in season 2. I want her to be a strong little girl and to fight her way through and to never give up and never give in and possibly protect people. As of who we might play as in season 2, I mean, we all know that season 1 we all played through as Lee and Lee only. I don't think season 2 is going to be like that. I have a feeling we're going to switch between a lot of different stories like we did in 400 Days. Like you played as Wyatt, and then all of a sudden you played as Russell, and then all of a sudden, I think it's going to be like that. I think they're going to incorporate a lot more versatile character playing and, decisions and whatever, and it's all going to play an important role in what happens throughout the game. I have noticed that they incorporated some different techniques in the game rather than selecting, let's press the up button on the directional pad to shoot and, let's kick this zombie in the face. Now they actually want us to wiggle the joystick to get a stick out of the ground or drag somebody by holding X and pushing up or whatever. So I think they're going to make the controls a lot, more controlling, I guess, rather than just pressing one or two buttons. It's going to be like heavy rain up in this bitch. we're going to be quick second split decision, holy crap, I'm going to die, what the hell do I pick kind of scenarios, which is going to be pretty cool and pretty intense. I'm probably going to be on the edge of my seat for the entire season 2. I'm not even kidding. I'm probably just going to be oh god, oh god, oh god. I'm just going to be so focused on keeping Clementine alive. And this right here is a message to Telltale Games. They'll probably never watch this, but God help you if you do anything to Clementine. I will murder you. Clementine better survive. If she dies, I will bawl my eyes out worse than when frickin' Lee died. I can't have Clementine die. No, it can't happen ever. That's it. Clementine has to survive no matter what. I don't care if any other character dies in the whole frickin' game. Clementine better live. And I'm sure everyone else feels the same way. If Clem died, I would be so fucking heartbroken. My soul would be crushed, and my entire existence would be in question. Oh my god, what am I doing with my life? Clem is dead kind of thing. So I really hope that season 2 brings in a lot of drama, a lot of action, a lot of, I love the scenarios that they choose in the game where it's choose this person to live or this person, and you don't want either of them to die. I hope they incorporate a lot of that. So I'm hoping, at least, that Kenny is alive. At least so that we can see how he would play out in season 2. And if he is dead, I hope that they show or tell us in some way or form that he's dead. I won't be able to move on in my life if I don't figure out what the fuck happens to Kenny. I need to know if he's okay or not. If he's okay and he lives on in episode 2, great. If he's not, please freaking let us know so we're not hanging in the dark. Let us move on with our life. It would suck to hear that he's dead, but if he's dead, I would much prefer hearing, through, we found Kenny, blah, 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 he's dead, or, maybe Clementine comes across him, or, maybe we play as Kenny. I think that would be pretty cool if we played as Kenny, and we played out that scenario after Lee left him. That would be pretty crazy. And I hope that Krista and Omid are still alive. And I hope Krista has the baby. Because I want to see how that plays out. And I want to see, because it's weird. How the heck do you take care of a baby in the zombie apocalypse? Where do you get baby food and formula and everything? How the hell does that even happen? That's going to be crazy to take care of, a baby always in constant edge of your seat, I'm gonna get my throat ripped out by a zombie at any fucking moment. That's gotta be a crazy moment in your life. But yeah, I think I've rambled for too long. I'm becoming a Walking Dead nerd. All I need to do is start watching the fucking TV show and I'll be set. But I'm so hooked on the game right now, it's not even funny. So yeah, there's my thoughts and predictions on season 2. If anything, I just want Clem and Kenny to be back. That's it. Who fucking cares about everyone else? I mean, I want Krista to be there with the baby, but if she's not, I'm not gonna have a canary. I hope season 2 is amazing, is intriguing, and sucks me into gameplay so that I never want to put the controller down. And I hope that they give us some insight to what the hell happened in those gaps and with those characters in season 1. I hope they fill everything so that we finally can put our mind at ease and move on and continue in season 2 without, oh my god, is this person alive? Is this person dead? That's all I want. And with that being said, I hope season 2 is the most amazing Walking Dead game to date. And I am super excited to play it, and you bet your asses when it comes out, I am going to be all over that game. So, I'll see you guys next time, or in season 2 of The Walking Dead, depending when you watch this. And I will talk to you guys later. And yeah, have a good one. Bye-bye.